Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Untold CEO. I'm your host, Zeylon Clover. We usually see founders as walking pitch decks. They have human vision of strategic, optimized, perpetually on presentation that they carry. But today we are talking to a man who knows they can't build big companies without build a big heart first. He has spent years in fast-paced startup world, but today we are going to slow down a little bit. We are going to talk about the little boy who used to be in Latvia, also a man he is becoming, and the quiet moments that happens when he closes his laptop finally. Please welcome the CEO Co-Founder of Affire, Jānis Zaltāns. Aivoan, Jānis.
Aivoan.
Thank you. Sveiki.
Yes, it's in Latvian. Hi.
Hi, okay.
Yes.
Sveiki.
Yes.
So, how do you feel today?
I'm a bit nervous. Yes, I'm a bit nervous but happy. Meeting you, and actually it's very cold outside, so being here in the room is very nice.
Thank you. Me too. I'm super nervous. Also, I'm super excited what will be the next. Alright, so I have prepared list of questions. I think you will love that. Maybe.
Sure. I mean, it's all the questions are good. I like to talk, but whenever I start talking too much, you just stop me.
I got you. When I met you firstly, you love to talk. It's not like ordinary Latvian. I love that.
Maybe yes. I would describe myself a bit shy, I would say, in that sense. So I think this verbal type of a thing for me, like when I start to talk a lot, is kind of a way how I would say it's kind of a mask for me. I'm thinking in that way, because normally I get nervous when I start to talk with people, but it's hard for me to stop. Not
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
So when I was nervous, I started to talk loudly, also
Yes.
very fastly.
Yes, exactly. The same for me.
And so, okay, I need to know where you born. I know where you born, but just it's a very traditional
Yes.
question in this program.
Okay, so I'm from Riga. I was born here in Riga. So this is the capital of Latvia, and I don't know which hospital was it, but it was here.
It's here
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Latvia.
I was born in 1991.
1991.
Yeah, it's
All
right after the Soviet Union collapsed. So basically, the whole life I was been living in a free Latvia.
Okay, so grow up Latvia as well.
Yes,
Grow up.
yes.
All right. Okay. So, you are CEO, also co-founder of Affire.
Yes.
Before you become a CEO or co-founder at your own business, you are just a kid in Latvia.
Yes.
And when you look back at that little boy, what was his world like? How did he spend his time, his days in dreaming about?
Okay. So I think it's hard to answer in ways how I would love to answer is like in between like comparisons or anything. But I would describe my childhood as very happy and light and very loving. I had both parents that were taking care of me. I had all my grandparents who were always like around me. I had like friends on my street like that I met every day. We played football. We played all the different things kids are doing. And but if you talk me about like if we compare these days and the 90s of post-Soviet countries, then I think as a kid I would probably not see those big problems that I realized were probably the country was very different than it's now. It was a time when there was a lot of uncertainty. The country was new. it was not new per age of how old it was, but it was since finally the freedom, everything, all the people were kind of basically the parents of the people of my age were more happy. So my name, for example, is Jānis. It is very traditional Latvian name. It's also now the most common name, but it's typically very, very, how to say, it represents, I would say, how people feel in that time. People my age are named Jānis so many times because it kind of represents Latvia, I would say, in that sense.
All right.
It doesn't mean Latvia, but it is the most common Latvian name at the moment, and at the people my age. The younger people have more international names. We're becoming more internationalized and everything. But at the time, the national identity and everything, and all the kids were named very Latvian and so on. So that was, I think, one of the things. And also, my name is symbolic in Latvian kind of culture, is because in the midsummer, it's called Jāņi, which means my name's day as well. In Latvia, we celebrate names days.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's a new thing.
So every date we have a different name, but the midsummer is special because it's like Christmas, but in the summer. And in the summer we celebrate midsummer. Actually, it's more celebrated than Christmas. In fact, we have more traditions. We have more things to do. We have also holidays and everything. We have huge bonfires, national songs and everything. And if a person is named Jānis, then we wear this oak crown and drink beer, sing songs. Also, the other girl name on that side is Līga. If you met some Līgas here.
Still not, but I would like to.
Yeah, Līga is not as common as Jānis is, but it's quite a common name as well. And Līga is another name which is celebrated during the midsummer. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I met most of Eva,
yeah.
Or
Eva.
Eva,
Okay,
IEVA, yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's
Yeah, maybe.
it's maybe more international name, but still it's Latvian name. So they have a little bit, connections in other countries. But Latvian Jānis is like Jan or John in other languages.
So overall, your childhood is very happy
Yes,
and very
happy.
comfortable. Yeah, very
of
lovely.
course. But if I compare it, how to be a parent now and raise a child in this age and time, then I realize how actually it wasn't that sunshiny for my parents or anything, because we were very poor country, not that much money. Everyone was, there was a lot of political issues here and everything. Lots of changes were happening. Businesses from centralized economics came into privatized companies. There was a lot of, government problems as well, and a lot of criminal things happening in the 90s. But because I was raised like this, and I was raised in between people who were kind of, I would say, like, as a kid, you don't see these things.
These things.
Yeah,
Now you can see everything. You can realize.
Yeah.
So, I know your childhood was warm. And what is the relationship with you and your parents, and what did they do for living? I mean, maybe they do some traditional works, and do you feel sometimes disrespect, or maybe you're close to your parents while they're doing their jobs and they're finding money for living or something?
You mean when I was a kid?
Yes.
Yeah. So my parents were quite young. I mean, compared to what time we make kids now. At that time, they were way younger, and my mom was studying, but still doing some part-time job as well. It was very traditional job. She studied originally as a designer for clothing designer. I don't know what's that. And was working in some companies that were producing our national outfits. Then she later on worked in a swimming pool that we have in Tīpsala, and that is actually, so because she worked there, I was also going there to this was my first sport I was training into swimming.
Okay.
So when she was working there, she was bringing me with her. So I was going to training courses and everything. So I managed to kind of be there with her as well. And my dad was in construction, so he was like a regular construction worker.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it was amazing period of my time, of my life, and I really like that. I was not raised, I would say, in Riga there's a lot of apartment buildings, but I was raised in a private house.
Mm-hmm.
But the private house was very old, before the war type of thing, in a district called Ilicians.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a couple of friends there as well. So since I was able to live in a private house where we have private garden and everything, I was not exposed to these street culture things. Normally I had some friends. We went outside and played football with them. But when I met kids at that age in the 90s who were from these apartment buildings, then they were going around doing graffitis, doing these kind of things and stupid stuff. I was mostly in home doing something with me and my friends, like very silent things.
Yes, I got you.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I also did the same thing. I was in there. We did have a very private house, and in Sri Lanka, most of the village people don't have apartments or something. They have their own private houses. So with the very the very big compound,
like a garden.
Yes,
right?
Garden.
Or
So,
backyard.
Yes, it's front one.
Yeah, we in Latvian say garden, but in English it's backyard.
So we had one, and we do very cool games with my sister.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
I also have a sister, by the way.
Oh, you have
1.5 years younger than me.
Uh-huh.
So me and her and our friends, we were kind of together doing stuff and everything. So in 1998, I started my school. So the school was a bit different, whenever we started out there. So
that's how your childhood.
I mean, there's a lot to talk. I mean, how much you need. I see that you have a lot of questions there.
Yeah. So that's all time is gold.
I mean, my mom took. I would say my mom did a lot of things with me and my grandmother and everything. So I still was able to live when my great grandmother was alive as well. So my great grandmother was more into culture. So she went to theaters or art galleries and these type of things. And my mom also was kind of liking these cultural things and stuff. I would say I started to read quite earlier than other kids because my mom was trying to educate me that way. And when I started to go to the first class in my school, I was already able to write or able to read and do some basic maths and everything. It was, and I started school at age of 6, so I turned 7 when I was in first class. So I was rather on the younger side in my class. Definitely not the oldest one. So at the time it made a lot of difference.
So, I did some homework for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I already said I like a detective. No, I'm not.
Okay.
So once you have mentioned I don't know, is that correct? Please correct me if I'm wrong. So once you mentioned your father, your first inspiration to start your own business. Am I?
Is my father?
Yeah. No.
No, not really.
Alright.
No. But I have a couple of people in my family that I haven't been able to meet in real life because Soviet Union and history part. That actually gave me confidence in that type of things. I mean, not really my family was the reason why I started to do those things really, but I had back in my mind some things that, how the Soviet Union started, right? It started right after the Second World War by occupation and everything.
Yeah.
And the people living here who normally got, repressed were the ones who were on a higher society level,
Mhm.
not the lower parts.
Uh-huh.
The ones who had some something here. And typically it was comparing to larger Russia, it was basically everyone.
Mhm.
because Russians were on a bit different level of society, kind of development level and everything. Because like 20, 30 years before the Second World War, when the empire, Russian Empire,
Mhm.
broke down, all the elite people were, destroyed in Russia.
Oh.
And when the Soviets came in, it was the kind of lower class of people who came into the power. So when this lower class finally managed to get control over the whole Russia, and when the Second World War started and they wanted to go into the Europe and actually managed to do this until the Berlin, um, all these lower class people saw everyone else in Europe as the enemies of the state.
Oh.
So this is really what happened also to my family. So I mentioned already my great grandmother. She was taken into the gulags during the Second World War. She stood there as an enemy of the state prisoner in Siberia
Mhm.
for many years. She kind of survived this. It's like it is, I think, a national tragedy for all the Baltic countries. Most of the families here have stories behind this. So like some or a couple of more family members were, dismembered. People were sent around the world. Many people were killed here. And in my family, we had the situation that normally there is not that many true genetically Latvians. Most of them are like myself. I'm like mixed between Swedish, German, Polish, and Livonian people that is living here.
Oh, amazing.
Livonia is or Liv people are kind of Finno-Ugric tribes living in Latvia. Of course, we have also some mix of original Latvian thing here, but my family part that came from Germany, like my grandmother from my mom's side, her grandparents were kind of higher society German people here, and normally at the time these Germans were called like Baltic Germans.
Oh, right.
And these Baltic Germans were this ruling class of Latvia. And this ruling class, of course, was not loved by the Latvians because Latvians were repressed and put down.
Oh.
So the other part of my family, which is my grandfather and his family tree, is actually from Sweden. They came here during the Swedish Empire time. So Latvian part was also, Latvia was once also under Swedish Empire, at least this northern parts of Latvia. So that part also came there. So we have a couple of, during this period, why I'm mentioning this is because these people from Germany, Sweden, Poland, they had their own like kind of, things that made the names into, in the world for themselves. So
That's make you to start your own.
I really started to enjoy reading history because I realized how many influential people were coming from my family. And since, when there was this Russian Empire, this ruling German class that we had here, were also influential in the whole Russian Empire as well. At the time, that while there were royal Russians, the royal houses typically intermarried between, different states. So you know that the last Tsar was related to British royal crown, right? And for example, my relatives from my German kind of family line they were the last. Actually, their title was Graf Lambsdorff. So basically, the surname is Lambsdorff, but the title is Graf. It's more like Earl, the next one under the Duke. So it means that they were kind of, what's the word for it? General of the army of Russian Empire army. The highest person was my family's relative. So they were highly influential people at the time. And there was quite big names that my family is associated. And I was reading history and I was like so amazed, like how is this happening and everything. And I And then my grandfather, for example, from my mom's side, his mom was the one who was sent to Siberia because, all these non-Russian people, all these lower class people were sent away. So she was sent away, but my great grandfather, her husband, was somehow he managed to escape this whole thing and was sent to Germany. And then from Germany he was sent, basically he managed to escape from Germany and went to the United States. Actually, he didn't know really what happened with the family and was trying to make contact, but when the Soviet Union was finalized, there was a big wall, so it was impossible for people to connect. So until 60s, people were not able to get back to their families if they knew that if someone's alive. So my great-grandfather made a new family in the United States. So that part of my family is also like, they're doing business and everything. So when I was a kid, I already knew this, but I could not imagine what my grandparents and my parents were going through during this period, what was the Soviet Union. So what I can tell you is, compared to everything that happened before me, nothing is comparable to where we are now. So my kind of motivation to do stuff like this, what I'm doing now, I mean, it's normal progression of education, doing stuff and everything, but my motivation was always like to not complain about stuff that I have or not complain about things that happen, because I just want to prove for them that you raised me that way, and that's the reason why we can do so. It's not because I'm not here to make to be this famous CEO or whatever. I just want to make my family, my wife, my potential kids. I still don't have kids, and my parents to have better lives, actually. So that's how I would say that's the thing.
Yeah, so I have that kind of a little bit similar story. So when I was a kid, like I was 10 years old. So I feel like if the world is end, like tsunami or something, war or something happen, the people who has money, big money, they will take their family away from this earth. But what I do as a kid, because we are not financially strong at that time, and now also a little bit. So, and what I do. So for that, I need to study well and earn money, more money.
Exactly.
So that gives me inspiration to do some business and mix with people and build some network and to do everything. That still give me inspiration. So still also the same. So I need to protect my family.
We are, I think, are starting getting the same kind of similarities as this, that Latvia itself, and I think people here are not originally people with old money, or we might have some people who have scammed the governments in the 90s or everything, like these so-called oligarchs, But normally, we don't have typical kind of Western European scenarios where family is inheriting the business or these kind of ventures that they have for.
So, with all the stories, can I please know about what is your relationship with your father? I mean, what is the biggest piece of advice you got from your father, and still you carry on, hold on those things?
Why exactly father? Is it
no, it's another half mother as well.
Okay. So
if you're not comfortable,
no, it's fine. It's that. I don't really have an advice. My father was super loving, so I'm taking with him. He was also very smiley, taking care of me. So he was never angry. He can become angry, of course, but he always made things to feel as not a big problem, So I'm taking this. I would not say there is one statement or anything. I'm just saying that he was like a bear, someone and strong, but you want to hug him, like this kind of person. But he was able to do a lot of things on his own. So I'm thinking I'm doing the same thing. I always if something breaks, I fix it. I'm not trying to find a new replacement item for that.
Yeah. So why I'm asking about the parents and
Okay.
childhood,
Yeah.
the reason is that the childhood kids make we who we are today,
Okay.
That's give our
Mhm.
good inspiration
Mhm.
to build our personality today.
Mhm.
That's right. What mother you teach you to dealing with people, kindness,
Mhm.
and that you bring into your business and personal life today?
So I think my father was more like I mean they both are very very loving and everything. My father was more like how to say made things feel safe and not to worry about, and everything's feasible, everything's doable. While my mother was also kind of the same person, but she was more into there's this thing called that's something that I later on realized what she is capable of is she was I forgot the word, but it's like she taught me the way how to understand other people. It was like when I was a kid I was oftentimes bullied kid. Like I was not a bully, but I was on the other side, and because sometimes I was having higher grades, I was better in stuff in school and everything. So typically I was not the most outgoing and this kind of thing. So whenever I was worried about this, my mom was the person I was talking about these human issues and things, and she was able to kind of give me the big picture of how to think about this, why it's happening and this and that. So what she helped me, she kind of helped me, I would say, I think the correct word is to get this emotional maturity a bit earlier. So when I was a teen, I probably wasn't the worst teen that my parents could imagine. So I was not that really outgoing or like I mean not in a bad way. I mean I still had friends and I was doing and some parties and everything, but I was not like I was kind of having my self control and everything. I would say my mom kind of had a huge influence on that, and I believe it's because she understood how to talk with me and build this emotional intelligence in me. Because still to this day, I oftentimes, whenever I need to deal with some things related to people, and I think mostly all the things are related to people, I sometimes get or ask some advice from her.
Okay, so your mother was your inspiration to your life to make your life a reality, and she taught you to how to emotional strong and face the reality in the life.
Yeah. I would say she's not like really an inspiration, but more like a guide. I would say.
Guide you.
Yeah, in that sense, yeah. She always like brought me to all these outside of the school things. Like swimming was the first thing. I was actually dancing I was a dancer, like sports dances when you do the waltz and cha-cha and these kind of things.
Yes.
So for a couple of years, because she brought me there, then I was doing outside school art school as well. All these outside activities. She was doing a lot of stuff with me and my sister, so we both did all those same things.
So yeah. So what is the turning point in your life that you believe?
Turning to what?
Turning point.
Turning point to
turning point to your
I think
everything changed in your life, and this you changed from your normal ordinary life. I mean normal life. Maybe
for me, okay, I will answer it. I mean, I think this answers the question how you made it. It sounds that there was a turning point. In my mind, it actually was always like I would say there was a big mess at the beginning. I don't know what I will be or what I want to do. I have a lot of interests. I like history. I like I like sports things. I like arts. I like I'm good at physics. I'm good at chemistry. I like a bit history. All the things like we're interested in a lot of things. So there's a big mess at the beginning, but whenever I got older, of course, I think it's naturally that you get to the one point. So when I got to university, it was I was studying commercial diplomacy, and then I have masters in international economics. I think during this period, I started to kind of um, realize how these things can come together and what I want to be. So I didn't really start my studies as I want to be an ambassador. I want to do international relations or economics. In fact, I wanted to be an architect originally, or I wanted to be more like, hands-on things like doctor or something like this. But, 2008 was a big crisis. It really affected both the countries, especially Latvia. A lot of people left Latvia at the time. So most of them went to Western Europe, mostly to Ireland, UK and everything. My family stayed here. It was a very hard period. And also it was the time when I was 16, 17. And then in 2010 when I was 18, and I started studies, it was still very hard to get a job and everything, So at the time, whenever you wanted to apply to work somewhere, there was like 20% unemployment rate in Latvia. And because of this, people with experience and higher education were always like, even those people were competing between to get the lowest paid jobs in every company. So what could I do like a student working in a company, still studying to find a job where I can, to get something out of me. So it was very hard to go through all these competitions, all these HR interviews or anything, because I realized like I would never have a chance. So if you don't have contacts already in a company, or if you have someone who could give. So what I did was in university we had a lot of opportunities to access side activities and everything. So because of those side activities, like pitch competitions, going to some exchange under other universities or join communities. That's where really I started to realize, hey, I don't want to be, how to say, like working for someone and trying to do this hustle. Like I want to make something on my own, because I realized that the same effort I would be putting in just getting the job done right. Or maybe if I would be, I was employed for a couple of years for some companies because I still needed money, but I had this idea of not being related to larger companies, because I realized that I'm just a number in their, sheets. I could be replaced any day or anything, so there was no way for, experimenting or anything, because there are still like line of people behind me who would love to take this job, and if I show that I don't like it or do things that, so most likely I would be replaced. So I always had this idea of, okay, I need to do something on my own. So I was kind of, starting to educate myself around this thing. And also it was the same time when in Latvia really this startup community started up. So at the time it was Tech Hub, which is now this startup house and everything, but at the time it was Tech Hub. It was in Old Town. There were a couple of cool people who started their own startups. At the time we really didn't know what the startup is, this venture scene and everything. So in university we were exposed to other universities and other students, like in Finland, Turku School of Economics, Aalto community, all these people. I was exposed to them. I saw how they are doing things. In Estonia, they had this Mektori Tal University of Technology in Tallinn. I don't know really the name, Taltech, or how it's the name. Then there is Tartu University. All these kind of universities in Finland and Estonia were starting to get this idea of startup community. While in Latvia, it originated, I think, more like a community in between people who want to do stuff, not from the education side. So I was still a student. I was saying, hey, I have to do something there. So me and my couple of course mates, we started to organize some pitch events. We were kind of educating other students about startups and everything, and we made an organization called Boost Riga. So it was kind of under university. University was being some bit of money. We had some support from local pizzeria places, bigger places and everything. So we organized community events, and some events were managed to get around 300, 400 people. And also we had Tech Hub here. There were some startups we had like first money coming in, like, oh, okay, startup place is the place I want to be. So that's how it started.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
So that's a quite lovely and really exciting journey.
Yeah.
So how we get into tech industry? Yeah. So once Jack Ma told, I think I remember, okay.
Mhm.
So if no one gives job for me, I will
Yeah.
make it for me, and I will
Yeah.
give job for other
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's some kind of similar story for every founders has. I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is the story behind Affire?
Affire.
Affire.
Okay.
What-
How far back you want to go into the story?
What is there behind the story about Affire? I want to know about like how you start, how that idea came to your mind, and
Mhm.
like that.
Okay. Again, this is the way how I mean ideas. Actually, the idea came from very simple reason. I mean, since 2020 till I was working in a larger company which had a subsidiary here in Latvia. I was kind of in 1 year I was doing budgeting for my team members in Latvia, and I was trying to understand what software applications we will be using and what costs can we cut, is everyone accessing all the things that we have and so on. But in reality, and the thing was this, that I needed to make a report back to my managing team in Belgium, and I realized that, and I asked them like, do we actually know what type of applications we have, because the company is 3,000 people, like 30 countries and so on, and they said that yeah, I can export to you, and they gave me an Excel sheet of all the applications that we are subscribed to. But the meaning of subscription meant that they have bought this application, like Microsoft, Zoom, like whatever marketing tools we have, like designing tools and so on, or maybe financial tools. So this is the stack of the tools. This is the people who have access to those, and we need to understand who is using what, and if they are not using, then we need to cut off the costs. It was during the COVID time and everything, a bit later after the COVID. And everyone is living, kind of in hybrid workspaces. So I realized like, hey, why this is something that I need to ask people around. Why don't we have like a centralized dashboard to do this? And then I asked like to other companies like how they do it, because maybe there's some cool ideas that we can implement in our company. And then I really realized that these larger companies really don't have any specific tools. They just, we bought it, the accountant somewhere put it like, okay, we are paying for like 1,000 licenses just for this application. This is going to pay 1,000. No one knows if actually people are using those. Because what I realized is, whenever I was asking people around my company, like, okay, do you need a Kano subscription? And then they ask me, like, do I have a Kano subscription for me? Yes, it was given to you. I see your name there. Like, oh, I didn't know that. The reason was because the support team from the Belgian side was sending invites whenever the new application was bought. So if the person was in vacation or whatever, they probably would skip this part, and they would not know that something is given to them. So no one was centrally communicating. No one was understanding. Nothing was like. Everything is like, because everything is on cloud, nothing is like centrally implemented, so it was big chaos. And I was thinking, oh, hey, maybe there's something that I can do and kind of fix it. So this was the original idea, but since then we really pivoted from that idea. And in fact, we were kind of trying to understand like how to kind of make sense of this. We started to build potentially integrations, investigating how hard it would be. We realized it would be extremely painful and hard and expensive to do this in that way as we intended, because imagine like tens of thousands of different applications in the world that you have to be connected to one application, Affire, and maintain their APIs would be extremely expensive. And for a startup, like we were thinking, okay, we cannot go, but still companies started to think, hey, this is very interesting how to think about this. And then while we were kind of starting to work with the first design partner is, I left my company in 2024, but while I was still working in a company, we was already building the thing. We how to say, we were meeting different smaller translation agencies and marketing agencies, and we were asking them like, how do you manage all the applications? Because their problem was that they have all the freelancers there, you know. Freelancers come to the project, and when the project ends, they go away. So this was kind of a thing that was happening, and I was thinking, oh hey, there probably is a big issue of SaaS applications. You know, if you buy a license, you need to remove it and then give it to another person. So there's a lot of things happening. So we got one potential pilot client. I call them design partner because it's really like a bit lesser than MVP. It still works, there's things, but we need to hear them saying, okay, I need this feature that way built in, and it has to do this and that. And so we were listening carefully what they do, but then we asked like, what would be the price you would be paying like comfortably? And we realized that no one is willing to pay enough that we could sustain ourselves. So this company, particularly that we were working together, invited me to one business event where I was able to pitch to a larger audience what we are doing. And then there was one other company, actually from the construction industry. I was like, why is construction interested in talking? That's like completely like nonsense. And they said, hey, would you love to talk with our IT guy? And next day, this IT guy is actually calling me, and we got a call, and he said, hey guys, like, what you are doing is extremely important for me and for my industry. And he explained that I'm not like a full-time employed in this company. I'm an IT guy, and my team is IT guys for tens, like multiple companies. And he explained that this type of the way they are working is called managed IT services, and they are these type of service providers. And I was okay. There is a specific type of companies that does IT for a lot of companies. And he said, we are not interested in managing licenses. We are more interested in the risks and the cybersecurity aspect of it. So if you would like, help us to understand if people are signing to new applications, if they're creating accounts, if they're not using MFAs, if they are sharing credentials between people, if they're using personal emails on company computers, if they are, doing some like uploading files with the name of passwords to like third-party file sharing things, they need to know this with an alert. And I was like, oh my God, this is what we can pivot into. Then we realized we don't need all these APIs, we just need a browser extension and an agent that sits on a computer. So they helped us to kind of understand the market, everything, and we realized the big market is actually the United States. So from there on, we kind of focused the United States mostly. So idea now is basically shadow IT management platform.
Shadow IT management platform. So it's of course a kind of amazing journey. It's like you start where you start and now where you stop. Yeah. So it's you find the problem firstly at your company, and it's customize and come to this level.
Yes.
That's crazy. So
it's so crazy.
It's so great. So so I have to say to the youth entrepreneurs and who is like to become entrepreneurs, find a problem and get fit to that. Find a solution to that. Then you will go higher and higher and higher.
I would say actually my suggestion is not to get in love with the idea you are building, because you will probably need to kill it very early on, but you need to kind of get in love with the problem you are solving, because this problem can be solved in multiple different ways. And I think that this problem part is more important than the solution part. So once you nail down the problem, the solutions can be like hundreds of thousands. Like you just need to find the cost-effective and most reasonable and most like executable way to do it. So once that's done, then you just build on top of it and everything.
That's great advice to me as well personally. So when you find your co-founder,
Okay, yeah. So this is a bit earlier.
Mhm.
So in 2016, 17, when it was this crypto industry craze and everything, uh, I was the first employee in at the time startup called Digitals, which was a cryptocurrency startup. And in Latvia, this company was the first which did the successful ICO. So before, like ICO, which is initial coin offering. So this Digitals who did the first ICO in Latvia, I guess, successfully. I think it was one of, if not the first one, but some kind of in the first thousands of startups at the time around the world who actually successfully did it based on Ethereum. I joined this company a bit before the ICO was done, so I was kind of helping to manage all this communication and stuff like this. So we were like, I think we were 4 people at the time. Once we raised successfully cash from the ICO, we were, I think, 13 people, something like this. But the CTO of the company is the co-founder of Affire as well. So he is also CTO for Affire. It was document exchange platform to sign, collaborate, and maybe even later to pay for some specific and important documents. And because of the GDPR, most of the documents were becoming more data sensitive. You were not able to send via email. You need to prove your identity. You needed to sign the document if you needed. So in the Baltics, there was a big chance to do it. So we started out. We actually managed to get some contracts with that. And it was successful. So during this time, we were, so to say, known in the startup ecosystem. And my third co-founder, I would say she was the second co-founder, but in like the way how we started the startup, she was the second one for Affire, and then the CTO came in. But in that previous period, we had that CTO and me and the girl, or what I'm talking to, my wife. At the time, she was not my wife, and I didn't know about her, but she knew about me because she was studying legal stuff, and she was also becoming a data protection officer. So GDPR related stuff was very important for her. She was also then building a consultancy and was willing to build her own product around GDPR things. And someone from, I think it was Ministry of Economics, who suggested us to meet, but to her. So she was already knowing that she wants to meet me, and without knowing her existence, I really kind of just was living my life. So one day, of course, Tinder pops up. The girl is writing me and telling me that she wants to meet me, but she has to, delete her Tinder profile, unfortunately, and then let's go and chat on Facebook. Then on Facebook, she started to tell me that she has to meet me because there's 1, 2, 3 things like business related stuff. I was like, is this a date? So whenever we met first time, is this the date? Or it was like all the way. So actually 3 months later we became couple. But with her ideas and what we were doing and everything, we realized that we might be doing something. So whenever I went to this, so this digital signature platform that I was describing before, it didn't succeed. It still was, put in the shelves. It was generating some cash because we got some contracts, but it was not enough to sustain our living. And also, it was extremely hard to make it as an international company because, as I said, the whole Europe was not ready for such things because at the time we didn't have that many digital identity tools to integrate with our platform. So it was also impossible to raise enough money. So we were like, okay, COVID is starting, let's go find work. And the company I was working in is the company where this idea came in. So 3 years later, in like 2023, I married Elvira, my wife. And around that time, I was pitching her this problem that I found out in my company because we were thinking, hey, like, what you can do? And so when I pitched this idea and when we kind of moved around this, I realized that it is actually, let's do it together because we both want to do something. And so the journey started. Of course, there was a lot of ups and downs and stresses, but we always we're very close and helping each other. So we managed to get all these investor conversations, all these biases that have people around couples building startups. Also this everything was there. So, but now we are on the level where we're actually finalizing stuff to get to the next level, which is actually finalizing the funding round. I will not explain how much or what we are doing now, but in general, things are progressing very well.
I have one question
Yes.
in my mind, always struggling. So, in a business level, it's okay. The skills your co-founder has, it's totally fine. So, what is the personal traits you saw from your co-founder? Okay, I can't trust this person for my lifelong or for next 5 years. What kind of personal traits are you saw from them?
I think the most important key for me is ego issues. Ego and highly thinking about yourself. If this person is highly thinking about himself and super egoistic or somehow resembling narcissistic behaviors, then unfortunately it's no go. It's very hard to work with such people because people think. For me, I'm like a flexible person. I like to listen to people. I like to enjoy, but I'm not the person who will be pushing myself on top of others just because I'm the king or whatever. No, it's not like this. In fact, it's the other way around. I would love to make people feel that they are helping me and enjoying that. So that is I would like to see in people. So. The personality trait, of course, is the lesser the ego is better, the more, if the person is more cooperative, if the person is motivated, if the person is not stubborn, all these things, yeah.
These kind of things.
Yeah, kindness is very important. Yeah, and also I think from my history I've noticed also some other things is, it's from other projects, but there was, I will not explain the names of everything, but I will this is one of my life lessons. So a while ago, 12 years ago, there was a project where I was involved. There was an investor who came to Latvia, and there was the party who was an owner of one specific type of a thing in Latvia. He had a wife, so this was a big deal. There was a multi-10 million type of a deal, which I was not really part of, but helping, more like assisting, something like this, like writing some stuff, mathematics, blah blah blah, whatever. The thing is this: I saw how things are happening, how investment process is happening. There was a French investor coming to Latvia. The Latvian guy was married. And so he, of course, introduced with his wife and everything and showed around the places. So the idea was to make this investment happen. But as you understand, making business means also making relationships. So of course it takes a bit longer. You need to, be happy, impress it and everything. So this guy from Latvia goes back to France a bit later, but now without his wife, but with his girlfriend.
Oh.
So at that point, so this French guy said, okay, sorry, I am not doing the deal. I cannot trust you if you cannot do stuff with your wife. If you introduce me to your wife and now with your girlfriend, how can I trust you if your wife cannot trust you? So that's it. That's simple.
That's it.
Yeah, that's simple.
That's it.
How can I trust you?
Yeah. So that these kind of personal information, personal things that can affect you the business life as well. Very clear.
Yeah. You have to be not a cheater also on all levels. Probably you mean you need to present that you are a trusted person, because in the business, the business is about the trust. And there is why are you doing business if you are not willing to kind of make trust between the closer ones? Yeah.
Amazing. That's a great lesson. So, Jānis, we are reaching to last 3 questions. So I know I have noticed building a company is like a roller coaster.
Exactly.
Never stop.
Yes.
So for a man in your position,
Mhm.
your partner is not just a support. So
Mhm.
they are one person who see you when you take off your CEO mask.
Mhm.
So how your marriage life helped you stay grounded, stay strong, or stay good, and when your business is spinning out of control?
I think it's we both are on the same roller coaster, and it's very fun journey to go like this.
Mhm.
Actually, I think it's a very cool exercise for a couple to do start together because you start to become innovative. We start to understand the person on the bads and the goods and everything. We still are working on our kind of side jobs as well. So. Not, I think when you are doing something like this together with a couple, it's with a spouse, it's not that. I think that not all the people are ready for this. Sometimes someone wants to take care of one thing, sometimes another thing, but we kind of were both like very similar in that sense. So we understand what's at the stake, but we also kind of enjoy it. We enjoy pitching. We enjoy being on stage. I mean, on the level what it means to be. I mean, I don't really enjoy being on the stage, but I have this adrenaline rush and being happy about it. Raising money together, building the product, talking with clients. We were also managing to go to Silicon Valley together. We were going to different conferences. So all these things is kind of a little celebrations that we. Of course, then there are things that make us go down. All these no's, all these people who are not trusting in us or anything. So it kind of makes us stronger, as a couple. So I would say our relationship definitely is not on the level where it's. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the right word for this, but it's not like very basic. It's not like really, you are my wife and you have to do this thing. Like we do both, all the things, So whenever we are doing this, like we are supporting each other. We are like there is no ego issues in between us. So that's I think it's very important. I'm really happy about this, and I know that she's happy too.
Yeah. So what I understand is you both have very good understanding, very strong understanding, and deep relationship with your how to say, with your business life, also your personal life. Very good understanding each other.
I think it's interesting to maybe mention, but if it would not be her, I would probably meeting my actual wife way lesser. If someone else from other industry, from like not interested in doing stuff together with me, we would probably be meeting only like after 7 p.m. Now it's like whole day together, whole day, every day, and the things are just getting better, And we are going across the world. We are going like representing each other, helping each other out, and going to. Like she's more on TV side, she's more on podcast, she's more on everything. So being here for me is very rare. For he, it's like every day. She's on TV shows. She's even like I don't know. She's on that representation level. She's there. So there's a lot to learn from me as well. Another thing is, it's definitely cool to do this because I don't know how in other countries it was, but I understand that in most of the societies. Maybe not that long ago, like 100 to 200 years ago, people used to make their own, farms where family is working in.
Yeah.
That's more natural to how I think the couple should behave, and they're producing something. They're taking care of stuff. They have like vegetables, fruits, animals, everything. Even children are involved in this. So why it's made? Like I've heard people saying like, oh, you don't do business with your wife, but then you realize that it used to be like this the whole history, and then suddenly, like for just maybe hundreds of years of industrialization, where husband is like a slave working as a slave in like one factory, and the wife is the same thing in another factory. Why they cannot do it together? I think it's very natural.
Yes, of course. The earlier ancient time, they worked together, as you said, in a farmhouse and with their kids and their wife and the husband, everyone. So now, when their life is getting complex with their globality or something, so people are meet, wife and husband meet after 7 p.m. maybe more than that, 8 p.m. Yeah, it's great.
And then they go to conferences abroad, like all these things, and then you start to have lesser and lesser quality family time, and a lot of people, kind of society is built in a way that only people. I mean, I completely understand why there are so many divorce rates, and that's not because they're doing things together. It's just because they're not doing, in my opinion, because they're not doing things together. Yeah.
Because as husband and wife or some girlfriend or boyfriend, they have spent more times with together, and otherwise feel like distracting. And I got you. It's an amazing experience and amazing feeling. So I have another question. So imagine it's 2 a.m. Right? Still you're not sleepy, and you need some advice, or you need some answers about your life from someone. I mean, you need some support from someone. And who would you like to call 2 a.m.? You will never hesitate.
That I know now, or someone I imagine?
Imagine.
Okay. Well, I wish there would be someone who could, with special ability to see future. If there would be some person like this, I would call that person. So I don't know who that is, but I want to call that person. I don't know the name of the person.
You never hesitate to answer, pick your calls.
Yeah, but if I would be able to call someone and it's related to the job or work, then I would love to be in connection with Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel.
Yes, that's one of the PayPal mafia guys, the OG investor of Facebook, and now they have this Palantir, and he's very influential. He's very he's hidden, but he is very influential in Silicon Valley and everything. He pretty much made all these people there, and now he's influential in government. But that's not the thing. He's the guy. If you know him, I think it's very important to know such person. But if on a personal level, I would definitely use consultancy with my mom sometimes about the people issues if something happens like this. And I would say 90% of startup roller coaster is about people things. Not about my wife, I'm not saying about her. I'm saying about all other people who we need to build a trust with, It's about that.
Yeah. So what's that name? Peter?
Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel.
Yes.
Okay.
Thiel.
Okay. Peter Thiel.
Yes.
Thiel.
Yes.
So Peter Thiel, we will have a call in future 2 a.m. from Jānis.
Exactly.
All right. And the last question. So, if you could go back in time as your 18 years old young teen, what would you like to say to him and whisper in his eyes?
Buy 40,000 Bitcoin. It's exactly when Bitcoin started. Yeah. In the forums, buy 40,000 Bitcoin. I mean, I don't know how much, but as much as you can. Yeah, because you will be rich. You will not need to work anymore.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
And sell by late 2025. That's it.
Okay, so it is a great advice to young people who is still 18s.
Yeah, buy Bitcoin.
Buy Bitcoins.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jānis, thank you so much for being open and being honest in this program. So it was really good talk and heart-to-heart talk. I'm really lucky to have talked with you, a side business life, and we talk like a normal people. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And so I wish you all the best to you in future endeavors. And we will have another podcast in your another milestone when you achieve your
Yes.
next level.
Yes.
Yeah, the Untold CEO podcast is every time open to you.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I mean, I hope the next level will be already this year. But once you reach, there's the beginning of the level, and then there's the point where you are about to get even to the more next level.
Next level,
To the third level.
Yeah.
I would say. So I think that part will be.
We will meet again
Yeah,
soon.
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
With way better, like with good news and success story, not about failed story.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
So you can.
Thank you.
You're welcome anytime. You can follow Jānis on LinkedIn, Instagram, and you can see his works on Affire. This was Jānis Zaltāns. I am Zeylon Clover. This is the Untold CEO. Aybovan.